introduce yourself with the last two projects that you have worked on, outlining the technology, how you what exactly that you do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So currently I'm working in Eiling Digital Organization, where the project is related to healthcare domain, and that healthcare is basically for the pet animals kind of data we have, and we ingest the data through ADF also, and we ingest the data through Python script by connecting to their SQL server, and then we are loading it to data lake or directly to the Databricks data table, and then we prepare some fact tables as per their requirements, whatever the requirements they need. For example, they need total revenues and kind of different kind of stuff. So according to the requirement, we are modifying the fact tables, and we are incrementally loading those fact tables every time. And also we like if that incremental loading takes time, data is big, so we also involve in certain kinds some kind of optimizing techniques there.
So basically, I have seen in your CV that it has been outlined that you developed a script, basically, which is ingesting the data and also having data monitoring out there. So could you shed some light on that?
Yeah, ingesting the data, and what was that? You told some points.
To have to monitoring to
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so actually, what kind of data I have worked on to ingest is like one way was to directly ingest it from ADF pipeline and putting it to the data lake. Then we are mounting those data lake points to our Databricks. After mounting, we were doing processing on those data, making fact tables, or just storing by doing some ETL process. And the second way of importing was connecting to the on-premises SQL server or PostgreSQL server and fetching the data from there, creating view in the middle, then incrementally loading to the some delta tables every day.
okay. So when you are ingesting the data, right? So it's on the Databricks, right?
Yeah.
So what architecture that you have used? Have you used Medallion architecture out there?
Uh, yeah, some kind of yeah, we have used, but actually the data is kind of filtered data, like clean data it was. So we normally do simple transformation like duplicates, removal of duplicates, or some kind. Sometimes there certain columns contain JSON data, so we need to extract some particular key value pair from that JSON column, and we create a different column. So certain kind of little transformations we do, then we load it to some different table. That is the architecture we are following. We are not following totally raw data, then going to the silver layer, then going to the gold layer. It is we can say it is a little kind of bronze data we have, then we modify it little.
Okay. So now, can you shed some light that we already had a legacy Spark, right? So Databricks coming into the picture. So what do you understand by Databricks, and what is the difference? What is the advantage of using Databricks?
Advantage of using Databricks is like it is making the things like at one place. For example, when we mount the data lake to our Databricks, then we don't need to like transfer our read write kind of thing is like simplified. We can play with our data at same place, okay, and we can schedule our job in the Databricks itself. We can process the data using Spark processing engine, and we also leverage the features of delta tables, which are very optimized kind of tables, like which perform certain optimizations while reading, writing the data, and also provides schema evolution. So lots of benefits are there using Lakehouse from Databricks. So we can say that everything is at one place and everything is simplified. Okay. So that is why it is advantageous. Also, it provides the feature of data live tables also. So we can simply we can architect our bronze, silver, and gold layer models there, and we can schedule our jobs to process the structured data, structured streaming or streaming data also using structured streaming libraries in Databricks. There are lots of things which Databricks can provide at one place. So it is good, I think.
Okay. So you said that you use Delta file format.
Yeah.
So why Delta file format has been?
Yeah, actually, Delta file format is, you can say like it is most compatible file format, and it is generating a log file. Okay, so that log file helps us in reading the data. Like it does not have to. It is a kind of optimized storage, we can say, with that delta log. Okay, because the delta log contains all the metadata information of the data, where whether we update, delete, or insert any records, it will smartly create a log for that, and we don't need to unnecessarily read the unrequired data. Okay, and also we can time travel with the delta logs, we can say.
It also supports ACID properties, right?
Yeah, yeah, it supports exit properties. That is the difference between delta lake and the delta tables actually. I can say.
Basically, what is the orchestration tool that you have used?
Orchestration tool is like for job scheduling and all, right?
Right.
Yeah, the Databricks job scheduler we have used to execute our job on the daily basis or two times in a day basis. Okay, so basically we create a job in our Databricks itself.
Okay. And what is the cluster type that you use in Databricks?
Cluster type is like we have used 11.3 TLS, and we have 16 GB to we have around 56 GB to 56 GB of memory, and the cores are like 16 to 64 of cores are there. Like they are dynamically allocated according to that.
Okay. Okay. So any optimizations that you have implemented in Databricks?
Yeah, optimizations are like we can say we have bucketing. So first of all, I have mostly used partitioning on the tables. Okay, because some tables are very large, so we need to partition it by and then store it to the filter table. So partitioning we have used bucketing not much. Broadcast has and is uh, auto enabled in current Spark. So we have a threshold, broadcast threshold in Databricks. So if the table size is less than 10 MB, then it will automatically broadcast the second table, and it will do the broadcast join. So that optimization is like for small tables. We haven't used much, and yeah, some optimizations are like related to practical SQL query. So we have some queries which are processing lots of data and joining huge amount of tables. So that query basically was taking lots of time. So we kind of enhanced that query so that it should take less time. Okay. Uh, so that is the kind of optimization we have little bit used.
So you said that you have enhanced the query. So can you shed some light on that? That what was the use case and what exactly you did, and so that the performance got improvised.
Actually, the requirement from client side was there was a date column in every table, and we have to join those tables, and we need to get the data for every date. So we need to basically apply a date filter for each date. Okay, so we have to go back to last 2 years, and we need to parametrically provide that run date command. Okay, that date, and that date is filtering out the data, and based on that data, so we are loading that data to the delta tables every time incrementally. Okay. So the problem was like we have to historically load data for 2 years for each day. So that query was taking almost 12 to 13 hours. So we have optimized it in such a way so that it took 3 hours in a day, and it loaded all the data for 2 years successfully. So what optimizations we basically used is uh, it was lots of tables which is having CTEs. Okay, and those CTEs, those all CTEs contains the parameterized date. Okay, so every time for every date, every CTE was hitting. Okay, and each CTE was taking lots of time to run. So we basically created a temporary table for all those CTEs. 2 3 CTEs were there, and when the query started running, the temporary table got executed once. Okay, and the main select statement is taking the data from that temp table. So only for the one time the temp table is hitted. Okay, and for the rest of the incremental load and all process, it got like it took very less time. So that was a kind of optimization. We have created a temp table instead of CTEs, which were taking parameterized date for last 2 years.
So now, I hope you have used joins, right?
Yeah.
So what are the type of joins that you have used?
Most
This will help us to understand what was the use case. Why did you use that join?
Okay, mostly we are using like left join, inner join as a part of business scenario. So left join is basically left and inner both are used while incrementally loading the data. Okay, so left join basically takes the data from the left table and all the matching records from the right table. If the right table is not matching, it will provide us a null. Okay, so this is what the left join does, and inner join is like it provides a matching data from both the tables. And inner join having one disadvantage: if you don't have the unique key in both the tables, you'll get duplicate values. So we kind of struggled a lot if we don't have unique keys in both the tables. So we need to search a way like we have to use row number, then we need to select row number is equals to one kind of column from other table. So based on the requirement, we were trying to make the keys unique and all. So that was all.
So now, in case of Spark, right, when we submit a job, right, in client mode or in cluster mode, so what exactly is the difference?
Yeah, actually, client mode is basically the mode where the driver program runs on the client machine, and it can interact with the cluster results, and it can like it is mostly used in development purpose, where we can get the results from whatever the execution is happening in the cluster. And in the cluster in the what was that client mode and cluster? Yeah, cluster mode is what is like. The driver program is running on the that cluster itself. Okay, so it is mostly used for the production environment.
Yeah, and I think the driver and the executor, the driver runs on any of the nodes of the cluster, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, have you got a chance to use RDD?
No, actually, RDD I haven't used much because we are using higher level API like Spark SQL and data frames mostly. So I haven't used RDD. I know little bit concepts related to RDD, but I haven't used.
So you must have used data frames, right?
Yeah, I have used data frames.
Okay. So any idea why? What is the advantage of using data frame over RDD?
Yeah, actually, data frames provides a better compatibility while using while doing the processing, because it is compatible with the different languages where RDD is not compatible with all the languages. Okay, so data frames can be executed via Scala, Java, and other languages. Uh, and also, data frames is we have lineage. We have we actually we do RDD and data frame both provides the tag where we can we have a earlier we can access it is fault tolerant actually, so we can access the go back and get our data if any fault in the subsequent steps. So that is what actually data frame is good at, is more compatible, and also it has certain optimization also in data frames which RDD does not provide, I think. Optimizations related to processing the data and all. Not much aware about data frames.
Yeah, it basically uses the higher level constructs. So basically takes the advantage of that.
Okay.
So now moving on. Uh, so you said that it's a fault tolerance, right? So how does Spark handles fault tolerance?
Spark actually we have a tag uh, data structure which is having a lineage of each steps whatever we are doing. So let's say we are transforming the data frames and we have written 4 to 5 steps of transformation, and in the middle if any steps is failing, then we can go to the other node, we can execute it and we can get the data, and it is we can regain the data whatever we have lost in uh, last step, like that, I think.
Okay. In your project, have you got a chance to use caching?
Caching actually, yeah, I have used for the analysis purpose. Okay, I have actually there was a production bug, and I need to validate the certain revenue kind of metrics. So that was a query, okay, and that query we need to execute in prod and see what the result it gives. Okay, that was basically a CT kind of query. The whole metric is calculated based on a CTE, and that CTE we were extracting from the full code, and we were trying to execute it in the prod workspace. But to execute it every time it was taking so much time. So first time I have cached it, then I have tried using it, tried manipulating the records, tried experimenting with it with the other kind of filters.
Okay. So you said that you used broadcast join, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you got a chance to use broadcast variable as well?
No, actually, I did not use broadcast variable.
Okay, no worries. Let's move on. So now suppose you're handling a project, right? And where you are getting issues with that, right? So how do you debug that?
Once again, can you please repeat once more?
Suppose you are facing some issues, right? Issues in production.
Okay.
So now what is your approach to handle that issue? How do you
Okay.
debug that issue?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, actually, first of all, in production, we don't have access to all the tables and all. So, uh, but let's say we have all the access. We first of all, we go through the error in the job. Mostly jobs are failing in production. So we then we then we then clone the notebooks. Okay, whatever the notebook is used in the job, we clone the notebook in uh, our ID. Then after cloning, we are trying to execute it, and we are trying to find out on which line we are facing issue, and due to what, due to whether it is data issue or any syntax like issue, or any SQL problem. So we are going step by step from the bottom. So like that, we are like trying to find out the main problem, and also like sometimes we need to match it with our QA environment data and dev environment data. So and lots of discussions and all keeps us like makes us closer to the resolution of that particular bug.
So have you used some data quality checks?
Data quality checks.
When we say that, what data quality checks that we have used, like the data is not always according to your expectation, right? It may have null values. So one of
Yeah.
have you used some other data quality checks also?
Data quality checks is like we have like, yeah, we have not null constraints in constant property in the table while creating table. So we can use, but I haven't used in my project that not null constraints anymore. Uh, and data, yeah, actually, yeah, first of all, before preparing before developing, we are first analyzing the data, whether data is correct, how many null values in which columns are there. We are identifying the unique keys, whether a unique key contains any nulls or not. If there is any particular ID that should not be null, so we apply the filter condition while developing the logic. So kind of we are dealing with all these things with the SQL query itself, applying filters and doing all these things by validating the data first, then we start developing it. If the data is perfect, if it is not perfect, then we are trying to make it like good data.
Okay. So suppose you are getting duplicates in your data frame. So how do you handle that?
Yeah, the duplicates mostly we go to the source table, okay, from which table we are getting duplicates and what is the reason. So if the source is having duplicate, we will take one particular ID which is duplicate, and we will try to select all, and we will try to see all the rows. Okay, whether every row is whether both the rows is having exact value. If it is not exact values, then we try to use like row number function and try to take only one row. Or sometimes we also use like uh, yeah, we have in our columns we have one is deleted column. So if the record is deleted, then it is true. If it is not, then it is false. So we apply filters in our SQL queries that only select the data which is having is deleted false. So we are getting the current data, and somewhere we have is current is equals to true kind of thing. So that kind of filter we need to apply to deal with the duplicates. Basically, in our project, we have done this.
Okay. So have you got a chance to use repartition in your project?
Yeah. We have used reports, and actually, yeah, the approach I have said you earlier, like we are ingesting data from PostgreSQL server directly into the Databricks, okay, and then we are creating a delta table over it. So while fetching it from PostgreSQL, we are reading it and creating a data frame. Then we are repartitioning that data frame to a certain fixed number of partitions, and then we are writing into a file path. Okay. Then again, we are reading that file path and writing it to our delta tables increment. So that is the process actually we follow. So there I have used repartition just to limit the partitions if it is more. Sometimes we have used, we just needed only one partition. So we wanted to write just one partition to a file path. So we have used Coalesce. So that the partition if mode is it should be one.
Okay. Okay. So now you have used coalesce and repartition also, right? So so moving on. So have you got a chance to what to say? Uh, use any other constructs in Spark which enhances which helps your job to be more improvised. Any optimization, more optimization technique that you can say that you use.
Okay. Yeah.
Any use case will help actually to understand.
Yeah, actually, we are doing incremental load, okay, on daily basis. So whatever the SQL query we are generating based on the logic, we are trying to do the incremental load of that data, and that incrementally loaded table is getting to the Power BI team or data science team. So basically, that incremental load is little bit costly because that took little bit time and we need to do it two times in a day. So that incremental load, like whatever the data we have, one use case I have, we were having a table. In that table, we have certain client IDs and whatever the medicine they have ordered and other stuff. So the medicine they have ordered is actually the full medicine name, and the medicine name is like much bigger. And in that medicine name, we have the capacity of the medicine. For example, we have 50 mg of medicine, and that 50 mg is not located at the last of that sentence, okay, of that string. So we need to write a query in such a way wherever we have that particular 50 mg or 50 g 50 ml, we need to extract it, and we need to separate the main string, the medicine name, and the capacity of the medicine. So we have separated that, but the problem was we were separating every time we are uh, getting the data from source. Okay. So while incrementally loading, it is scanning all the data coming from source. Okay. Basically, what we do, we apply last load date filter while getting the data from source. And before applying that filter, we were applying the logic for extracting 50 mg or whatever the capacity of medicine to different columns. So one approach we have followed is like after applying that filter, we were doing that particular column separation kind of thing. So once we applied last row date filter, our data got minimized, and we were then uh, making that logic to the minimized data, and that logic was very complex. It was having lots of case statements, so that got like resolved. Like we applied filter, then we did the complex transformations on that, then we loaded it to the our incremental load we have done.
I hope you have some idea about that partition, rather predicate push down, right? So what is your understanding about the predicate push down and where you've used in the project?
Predicate push down is basically the filters which should be used. It is the basically our system is doing. For example, we have lots of steps like analysis, parse exception, analyzed plan, logical plan. So in the logical plan itself, I think, or in physical plan, it is like doing the predicate goes down where the filters are moving down. So whatever the data is there, whatever the SQL query you have applied, if any filters is there, the filters is going to be uh, done first because, for example, if we are doing some join operation, and also we have some filter, then the filter should move down first. That is called as predicate push down, because the filtering of data makes the data makes the records less and the data shuffling is reduced during join operation. So that is the predicate push down. That means that the filters are moving down of the logical plan of the execution.
So now, have you used CI/CD pipelines?
Uh, yeah, I have used CI/CD pipeline.
So can you just elaborate that what you have done on your project?
Basically, I am doing the CI/CD on DevOps. Okay. So we have one script for CI/CD. That script is that script is containing that script is concurrently running the notebooks, which should run while deploying the logic. And if any failure happens while executing those notebooks concurrently, we should get an email. So that is what a CI/CD notebook was. And after that, there are certain steps we need to follow while deploying it to the different environment using DevOps. So in DevOps, first of all, we create branches. One is developer branch, and one is that user story points.
Is it in Git?
No, it is in DevOps actually. We use DevOps.
Okay.
So we used we create two branches. One is user story and one is developer branch, and then we create pipeline. Pipeline is like pipeline to where we give certain parameters. Okay. So after creating pipeline, we do the changes in our developer branch. After doing the changes in our developer branch, we create pull request. That pull request goes to the code reviewer who is reviewing our code. If he approves that code, then we like it is we are sending the QA hand up or production hand up. So basically, after creating pull request, we create a release. That release basically deployed in other environment. That is step I used. So after release that, after creating that release, we send all the details to the code reviewer, the pull request link, release link, all these things. Then he will review and he will approve.
Okay, I'm done with the discussions. Anything you'd like to ask?
So what improvement you see in my knowledge I need to make or in my communication? Because this is my first interview after a long back. I got selected in my first company. After that, I did not have any interview. So I need a feedback little bit.
It was good. You have a very good knowledge on the technology that you're working on. But I think you should have a little more depth in terms of the Spark concepts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure, I'll go through the Spark concepts deeper. Uh, yes. That is all I think.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Umesh. Thanks a lot.